The following program is a production of the Southern University Mass Communication Department.
Here, I'm all about inspiration. This show is aimed to influence, motivate, and push people to fulfill their purpose. Join me as I shine a light on inspiring community events, creative cultures, and empowering individuals from Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. This is Raven Nicole. Let's talk. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Raven Nicole. Not every child is loved unconditionally and equipped with the necessary fundamentals for a healthy, happy life. But with the help of missionary organizations, there's hope for the futures of those in need. Today we're talking helping hands and changing hearts with someone who's familiarly gifted with the two. Welcome to the show, Ryan Wells. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Raven. Thanks so much for having me on today.
My pleasure. Can you start off by telling me a little bit about yourself and your position at Children's Cup?
Yeah, absolutely. Born and raised in Baton Rouge, have had a heart for ministry and worked at churches before. Talked about a year ago with the director of Children's Cup, and as we talked, just fell in love with the ministry, love what they're doing, the work that they're a part of, and so just stepped on and came on board with Children's Cup and have loved it ever since.
Okay, do you personally sponsor a child?
I do. My wife and I sponsor a young lady in Swaziland, Africa.
Awesome. So your mission statement expresses helping throwaway children become world changers. What does the term throwaway mean in that aspect?
Yeah, a lot of times people don't understand why we would use a term so controversial. And so it's really something that we thought about, prayed about, and that term, a throwaway child, the reason we use it is because we don't feel any child should be labeled a throwaway. And so the work that we do is to take children in desperate situations that have circumstances that are just crippling and really prevent them from being able to make a situation that would just be full of hope. And so our work is to rescue them, to talk to them, let them know that you're more than your circumstances, that God's created you for great things, and begin that journey of telling them the purpose and plans that God has for their life, and even how they can become a world changer. Okay,
so you would say in their countries, their surroundings labels them as throwaway. They're nothing where they are.
Yeah, the circumstances, the poverty, the drugs, the crime that happens all around them, they begin to think, that's what I'm going to grow up and be. They see that so much that they think there's no other way. And so it's extremely important that we come in, that we help show them what a healthy family model looks like, and begin a discipleship process to get them plugged into a life-giving church that shows them a better solution for their future.
Okay. What sets Children's Cup apart from other sponsorship organizations?
Yeah, great question. There are many of them out there, and the thing that makes Children's Cup unique is our partnership with the local church. Our heart to really plant life-giving churches and be a part of that and help equip the local church to do community transformation.
Okay, so you mentioned the church. What aspect does Children's Cup feel the church has in importance to its organization?
Yeah. The church is the hope of the world. We believe that. We know that to be true, and that is why we partner with churches, because one day a child's going to outgrow a feeding site. They're going to outgrow child sponsorship, but when plugged into a life-giving church model, they'll never outgrow that.
Yeah, someone once told me, you can have the word, you have to have it in you, not just on you. So you're putting the word in them,
yes,
and it's staying on them. So are children receptive to the teaching of Christ when you go to these other countries?
Sometimes the circumstances that they're in, a lot of times just in many ways they're more of a just a person surviving, and emotionally, spiritually, lack of a better term, they just seem like a zombie just there. And so it takes a lot of time to love on them, and it's really a process to begin walking with them, and really the importance of speaking things positive over their life. They've heard that they'll never grow up and be anything in their life, and so just letting them know, again, the plans and purpose that God has for them, and how critical it is just to be with them every day, and continue to build those relationships to show them that we love you, we believe in you, and we care for you.
Okay. Some of my favorite pictures on the Children's Cup Instagram are the ones with worship, because I'm a worshiper and I think it's so important, and it just seems so intense. What is it like when these children who had no hope find a new fire through Christ? What is the worship like in these countries?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I could put it in words and describe it, but it's truly something that you have to experience to truly understand. They understand worship in ways that a lot of times we're disconnected from in our culture, but it is very, very sweet, intimate, and authentic.
Yeah, I would love to experience that. So do you have any personal stories of a child's life you've seen change through Children's Cup?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a young boy in Africa, and many different stories that I could share, but this one really stands out, and it goes really along with our tagline, the helping throwaway kids become world changers. A young man that we rescued, he was probably about a year old, and his mom was promised a lot of things by a man, but all she really received from that relationship was a pregnancy, and she contracted HIV. And so his father left the picture. The mom, in a hopeless state, did what she thought was the best thing she could do for this child, and threw him away in a toilet that's it's dug about 10 feet deep in the ground, and threw the child away. And from what we understand, she went and committed suicide. And this child was a fighter, and his story didn't end there. Some local kids heard him screaming, heard him crying, and so they went, they fished him out of this hole, and we began the process of spiritually nurturing him, and physically as well. Started feeding him, and as he grew up, it was a lot of the, as I was saying, the just emptiness that was there. He really just had a blank stare. He was by himself at a lot of the projects where kids are playing and running around. But our director actually got a chance. He saw him right after that happened, and saw just the hopelessness. And then as we just began the process of nurturing back to health and spiritually discipling him, a few years later he was able to go back, and he saw this boy full of life, energetic, thriving, and he asked him, Tino Tenda was his name. Tino Tenda, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to grow up and be a pastor so I can help kids just like me.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
wow.
Thank you.
So I'm sure it's like many stories like this through this organization.
Unfortunately, we'd like to say that's the exception, and it doesn't happen much. But in the culture, the families, the way that it's structured is the father eats first, then the wife, and then oldest to youngest. And so a lot of times, as maybe the family runs out of food, it's generally the youngest child that doesn't get to eat. And so it's something we're disconnected from here in the States, but we see that that's the importance of the work that we're doing. And so a lot of times those younger children are seen as burdens, and so that happens a lot more than we'd like to see. But again, the just a reminder of the work that we're doing and the importance of rescuing these children.
Okay, so what different countries is Children's Cup involved with?
Yeah, so we're currently in the southern part of Africa. We're in South Africa and a small country called Swaziland, that's about the size of Rhode Island. And we officially launched at the beginning of last year in Latin America. So we're in Mexico and Honduras, and having just tremendous favor and great things happening there. And so we have plans of expanding that and even going into some more countries in Latin America within the next couple years.
Sounds great. So when you first arrive in countries like Africa or Latin America, what's the most alarming thing you see off that needs to be changed?
Yeah, there's many different things that you see as far as just the law enforcement and assault rifles and different things that we're not used to seeing here. But I'd say the thing that stands out the most from my trip and the things that I hear is just the hopelessness in the kids, and from poverty, from sickness, from becoming just orphaned. The hopelessness that they experience is really the greatest struggle that we find on a consistent basis.
Okay, so when you arrive, how receptive are the older people in these countries to your pursuit with the children and what you're trying to do in the organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sometimes, generally speaking, on a larger scale, the communities don't welcome outside organizations like we would think. We would think they're in need, they need a helping hand, so they would welcome an organization in. However, organizations actually have a bad reputation for going in, making big promises, but not delivering. Maybe showing up for a few months, and kind of when things get tough, they just pull out. And so generally speaking, there's a little bit of resistance in the beginning, but once they see your heart, they see that, hey, we're in this together, and those relationships are formed and grown. When we go as a team and the relationships are already established, there's warm, welcoming, lots of love, and kids just running up and embracing the teams as they show up.
Great. So how's the living experience while in another country?
Yeah, it's very different. Mm-hmm. You learn to define what a need is very quickly, and it helps shape your perspective for coming back to the States. There are certain things that are just commonly gone without: internet, air conditioning. There's a lot of different things that you would think, I need this to live, but when you're there, you realize not only do I not need this to live, I can actually be really happy without these things. And so in a lot of ways, just the joy that the neighborhoods and communities experience, I feel that sometimes technology stands in the way of us experiencing that here in the States.
Okay, have you personally ever questioned your purpose or, point for being there when things got hard in another country? Have you ever had a moment?
All the time.
Okay.
Yes, it's very challenging, especially the cultural differences. A lot of times we feel that we're burdened and we love this country so much and these communities and the relationships, but a lot of times we feel as though an outsider. And fortunately we have strong relationships that, again, the missionaries and the nationals know our heart, and they know that we truly want the best for them. And so that's a great reminder to help us remember that, hey, these oppositions that we face on a regular basis, they're just things to stand in our way. But ultimately, when we press on and get through this, we see the fruit, and we know that this is exactly in the center of God's will.
Okay, so does Children's Cup have living quarters set up for you guys? Do you house with other people? How do you guys stay?
Yeah, we have a mixture, depending on the community and where it is. We have mission houses that we can stay in that's kind of like a very scaled down, you could say like a college dorm or something. And so we have those, and then other areas we don't. We have just locals that live there. That's all we have. And so when we stay, sometimes we have to maybe room with a local, or maybe find a hotel close by.
Wow. So how has working with the organization changed you personally? Any eye-openers that you've experienced?
Absolutely. It's changed me in that when I remember going to the mission field for my first time last year, and there were a lot of things that I walked away with that I didn't realize I was marked in those areas. But as we make decisions as a family, my wife and I, since then, it's been just like I said, just a great way to redefine necessities and what's really important. And in addition to that, it's helped me understand the plan and purpose that God has for my life, and to see the children that we work with and just dream bigger, and to not put limits on the plans that God has for us.
That's great. Is the organization only geared toward outside countries, or do you do any domestic work within?
We do some work here in the States. We have different things from packing meals to even an annual gala that we host here in Baton Rouge that's coming up in a couple weeks. And so we have a few different things here stateside. However, the majority of our work is overseas. It's focused on helping those children, rescuing them, and then helping nurture them on a journey of wholeness, mentally, physically, spiritually, becoming whole and the young man or woman that God's created them to be.
Awesome. So I have on my hand here a bracelet that says Give Hope, and Miss Susan came and gave it to me and the staff
Yes.
at the company I work for, and we were very, very grateful. Can you explain what the Give Hope bracelets mean to Children's Cup and what they help provide for the other countries?
Yes. They actually, for every bracelet that's sold, we're able to feed a child for an entire month. And the proceeds go directly to our feeding program. And it's a great way to have people here in the States have fashionable jewelry that looks great, but also at the same time be able to help a kid and rescue a child that otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to have a meal, and not just any meal, but a hot meal that's actually going to provide them with the nutrients that their body is craving.
Right. It's such a cute, simple way to give back, because everybody loves jewelry here in the States, so it's so easy to sell it, but feed a child at the same time. Mm-hmm. How does Children's Cup recruit or go about training for missionary work?
Yeah, we have a number of different ways that we connect with people here in the States that feel called to a certain area, whether it's Africa or Latin America, and we do some things to help equip them before they go, and then also while they're there, we have a team that helps them as they transition, because it's a very very big jump. There's a cultural difference that takes time to warm up, to understand culturally what is and what isn't acceptable, and we try to prepare them best we can ahead of time, but sometimes just getting in the situation is really the best way to understand and really grasp it in a real way. So we do as much as we can to prepare them here stateside, but actually sending them and working with missionaries and part of the team on the ground is really the best way to understand what is and what isn't the best practice.
Yeah, Miss Susan was telling us, some people get on the missionary trips and they're all for it, and then they get there and they're just like, they can't take it, or why am I here? And so they lose sight of the purpose, which is really the children. So you really have to be equipped to join an organization like this.
Yes.
And really participate.
Yes.
So what other merchandise do you guys have other than the bracelets that someone could help get involved with?
Well, actually on our website, childrenscup.org, we have a whole store with t-shirts, we have little decals, coffee cups, tumblers, all kind of different things on there, and those proceeds go to helping children, helping develop programs, and helping to feed the children that otherwise wouldn't have the meals that we provide.
Okay, how could someone go about sponsoring a specific child or a child of their own?
Yeah, we have actually just released, just updated a new website, and we have the feature to go on and select a child. And this is really something that I think everybody understands how to sign up and send in the payment, but there's an element that we really help to coach that when you sponsor a child, writing the letters is so critical. It's a great journey to take your family on. For my boys, actually, this afternoon we got a letter in from our sponsored child in Africa, and so when I get home, we're going to open it, and it's really become an event in our household that we all read it together. We're so excited. We all write a letter back, and I can't wait to get to work to be able to drop it off. And hey, send this letter back and get me my response as soon as possible. So taking the family on that journey and helping unpack what giving back and making a difference is for my children as they come up to really be able to understand that. And I believe it's been a great way to help prevent them from the entitled mindset that is so easily, I guess, adopted as a teenager growing up.
Have they expressed any interest in wanting to grow up and do missionary work from seeing you do this?
Yes, both of them actually have, and both of my boys, I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they both have said that being able to see it and just experience it has really just touched their life in a way that they want to dive in and see how can I make a difference, how can I be a part of it, and again I think that child sponsorship has been the biggest thing as we get to see this child growing up, pray for that child, and just be a part of them developing and becoming a contributing member of their community.
Okay, where can Children's Cup be located, once again, online, and your Baton Rouge location for viewers? Yeah,
absolutely. We have, again, childrenscup.org is our website, and tons of information on there, even information about our gala coming up April 14th. And so visit the website, childrenscup.org, sponsor a child. Any information that you need is found there. Also, we have an office in Prairieville, right off Highway 42, and we'd love to connect, answer any questions. Telephone number there is 225-673-4505.
Okay, great. And also, one last question. Does a child ever come from the impoverished countries back to America?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had children come and visit, and then we actually, there's a rumor that we may have one of those children at our gala this year in 2 weeks. And so it's going to be just an incredible way. We truly try and have an experience that is that everybody in attendance walks away knowing and feeling what the mission field is like. And so we're going to have a young lady that went through our leadership development. It's like an internship. She's going to come and be able to thank everybody in attendance. Thank you so much for everything you've done in helping make my leadership training possible.
Okay, so there we have it. Children's Cup organization helping throwaway kids become world changers.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
And hopefully viewers can take away what it really means to save a child's life through missionary work, or even just purchasing a simple bracelet.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryan. Great. Thanks. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk. I greatly appreciate your support. For updates and previous episodes, please don't shy away from Let's Talk social media. You can follow the show everywhere at Let's Talk_Raven Nicole. Until our next talk, stay inspired, be the light, and remember to always live on purpose.
The preceding program was brought to you by the Southern University Mass Communication Department.
I just think it was a great documentary. I think everyone should watch it and should be enlightened by it.
It was very, very powerful.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was informative both on a scientific and anthropological level. I liked some of the scientific genetic explanations of how our different features have evolved over time.
Genetic isolation as well as genetic variance really kind of breaks it down, but it's so simple when you look at it. It's it's very logical, and it's not like you want to really argue or debate it. It's like, okay, it all makes sense.
I feel like the most interesting part of the documentary was how he pretty much concluded on how everything just pretty much originated in Africa. A lot of people want to deny that, but it's the truth. Everything originated in Africa.
Even though we have different skin colors, different racial tones, we are all genetically made up of the same thing, meaning we're all the same on the inside. So I thought that was pretty great to learn.
We're always hung up on color, and with the theories that he presented, I thought that they were viable, and it's something that gave me a pause to think about it.
I learned more about our race, and it just don't just come from different races. It all come from the same race, and we just scattered out to different places. So that's why our skin color is different, our eye color is different, and our hair texture is different.
I thought it was real good or great because kind of let you know where you come from.
I think that it should be broadly accepted in the academia field as a part of higher learning or basic learning, even in elementary school, which we're not getting now.
The critical area of genetic variance and genetic isolation pointed out a very salient part of the evolution of skin color. I mean, it's an excellent piece.
It was very interesting and very educational.
I did not know that every one of us, no matter what color of your skin, is all from the same place. We all have the same ancestors.
It teaches you a lot, and it's a lot coming at you, but at the same time, it all just connects so easily that it makes it easy for you to understand.
It was very interesting to know that everybody shouldn't even be, divided because we're all the same.
Me and my friends will always have conversations, and I would, we would just have ideas, but having the information that you've researched and that you've found upon yourself, just having it confirmed is just a good feeling.
I have definitely learned quite a few things from this documentary, such as where the human race originated and as to why there's differences, physical differences between certain races that we have defined in the American culture.
I really know about the diversity of each, where skin color really comes from. I know it was so instilled in us to learn the difference from it. So I really liked it. It was something different. I'm glad I took the time on my day to come see it.
I knew that Africa was the motherland, but I didn't know about how exactly it happened. So it explained it very well.
Having the science behind it really kind of drove it home. Got the DVD so that I can take that back to my kids.
The whole documentary was awesome.
The preceding program was brought to you by the Southern University Mass Communication Department.
I just think it was a great documentary. I think everyone should watch it and should be enlightened by it.
It was very, very powerful.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was informative both on a scientific and anthropological level. I liked some of the scientific genetic explanations of how our different features have evolved over time.
Genetic isolation as well as genetic variance really kind of breaks it down, but it's so simple when you look at it. It's very logical, and it's not like you want to really argue or debate it. It's like, okay, it all makes sense.
I feel like the most interesting part of the documentary was how he pretty much concluded on how everything just pretty much originated in Africa. A lot of people want to deny that, but it's the truth. Everything originated in Africa.
Even though we have different skin colors, different racial tones, we are all genetically made up of the same thing, meaning we're all the same on the inside. So I thought that was pretty great to learn.
We're always hung up on color, and with the theories that he presented, I thought that they were viable, and it's something that gave me a pause to think about it.
Having the science behind it really kind of drove it home. Got the DVD so that I can take that back to my kids.
The whole documentary was awesome.